Get ready to enter the captivating world of the Hells Angels as we investigate their responses to life sentences in the prosecution of notorious member Caius Vaiovis, often known as the Eccentric. Vaiovis, a self-described Satanist and vampire with horn-like forehead implants and dark-themed tattoos, committed a string of horrible acts that horrified the country. The startling story takes place in 1999 when Vaiovis and his girlfriend were charged of abusing a 16-year-old girl, slashing her back with a razor and consuming her blood. Vaiovis legally changed his name while serving a previous sentence for this horrible crime, and he later joined the Hells Angels motorcycle organization. To eliminate potential witnesses, Vaiovis and two other guys kidnapped and shot their victims to death in a subsequent event. In a case involving assault, one of the victims was about to testify against a Hells Angel. Vaiovis, while professing his innocence throughout the trial, was sentenced to 3 life terms without the possibility of parole after being found guilty of several offenses, including murder, kidnapping, and witness intimidation. 4. Caius Vaiovis's outburst. As the courtroom held its breath, Caius Vaiovis, the self-proclaimed vampire and Satanist, stood before the judge awaiting his fate. The tension in the room escalated as the judge began to read out the verdict. Vaiovis, known for his apathetic demeanor throughout the trial, suddenly erupted in a fiery outburst. His defiant words, "I'll see you all in hell," echoed through the courtroom, leaving a chilling impression on all who heard them. However, despite Vaiovis's theatrical display, the jury remained unmoved. The evidence presented during the trial overwhelmingly pointed to his involvement in the heinous crimes. The murders, kidnappings, and witness intimidation were too grave for his outburst to sway the jury's decision. With the judge's pronouncement of a life sentence, the courtroom was filled with a mix of relief and somber satisfaction from the families of the victims, who finally found a measure of closure. Undeterred by the jury's ruling, Vaiovis clung to his claims of innocence and vowed to appeal the sentence. In his mind, the battle was far from over. He was determined to fight until the end, clinging to any chance of overturning the verdict. As he was escorted away, his eyes burning with defiance, the families of the victims found solace in the knowledge that justice had been served. They held on to the hope that the appeals process would only reinforce the truth that had been revealed in the courtroom. While the families grappled with the aftermath of the trial, the impact of Vaiovis's outburst lingered. It was a stark reminder of the dark and twisted mindset that had driven him to commit such heinous acts. His words reflected a deep-rooted defiance and a refusal to accept responsibility for the pain he had inflicted on others. For the victims' families, his outburst only solidified their belief in the necessity of his life sentence. They were determined to move forward, find healing, and prevent any chance of further harm from befalling others. As the case of Caius Vaiovis continued to captivate the public's attention, the long and arduous appeals process loomed ahead. It remained to be seen whether his claims of innocence would hold any weight in the eyes of the law. But for now, the families of the victims, though scarred by the horrors they had endured, found solace in the knowledge that justice had prevailed, and they could begin the difficult process of rebuilding their lives. 3. Adam Lee Hall's sentencing. In the courtroom, Adam Lee Hall, a member of the Hells Angels motorcycle club, faced the consequences of his chilling actions. Alongside his accomplices, Caius Vaiovis and David Shalhoub, Hall was implicated in the abduction, murder, and dismemberment of 3 men. The horrific nature of their crimes sent shockwaves through the courtroom, leaving a lasting impact on all those who witnessed the trial. Throughout the proceedings, witnesses and evidence revealed the extent of Hall's involvement in the heinous acts. Testimonies painted a disturbing picture of Hall mocking and laughing about the victims, showcasing a complete disregard for human dignity. The jury, tasked with weighing the evidence, reached a unanimous verdict, guilty on multiple counts including first-degree murder and kidnapping. The severity of Hall's crimes demanded a fitting punishment. The judge, in a solemn and decisive moment, handed down 3 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. The weight of this sentence reflected the heinousness of the acts committed and ensured that Hall would spend the rest of his life behind bars, unable to cause further harm to society. As the gavel fell and the courtroom absorbed the gravity of the verdict, the families of the victims found some solace in knowing that justice had been served. The sentencing of Adam Lee Hall marked a significant step towards closure for them, although the pain and loss they endured would never fully fade away. The trial's conclusion brought mixed emotions to the courtroom. The families of the victims grappled with a sense of relief, finally seeing their loved ones' killers held accountable. The prosecution celebrated a successful pursuit of justice, validating their tireless efforts to bring the truth to light. However, for Hall, a life sentence without parole meant the loss of freedom, forever confined to the walls of a prison cell. As the courtroom cleared, the echoes of the trial lingered. The chilling acts committed by Adam Lee Hall and his accomplices served as a reminder of the darkness that can reside within individuals. The resilience of the justice system and the determination of those seeking truth and closure allowed for a glimmer of hope in the face of such atrocities. The memory of the victims would endure, and their legacy would be one of strength, unity, and the pursuit of justice. 2. Richard DeVries' arrest. In the bustling city of Las Vegas, the arrest of Richard DeVries, the reputed president of the local Hells Angels chapter, sent shockwaves through the motorcycle club community. DeVries found himself facing serious charges of racketeering alongside 7 other individuals. Their indictment stemmed from a shooting incident that left 6 members of a rival motorcycle club injured. Prosecutors alleged that this act of violence was a retaliatory response to a previous incident that resulted in the death of a Hells Angels motorcyclist. The charges brought against DeVries and his co-defendants painted a troubling picture of the alleged criminal activities taking place within the Hells Angels motorcycle club. Among the charges were conspiracy to commit murder and attempted murder, revealing a darker side to the organization. The prosecution aimed to establish that the Las Vegas Hells Angels chapter operated as a criminal syndicate, engaging in violent acts to maintain their influence and territory. The arrest of Richard DeVries took place during a court hearing, adding a dramatic element to an already tense situation. Bail was set at $250,000, signaling the seriousness of the charges and the potential risk posed by the defendants' alleged involvement in criminal activities. As the trial progressed, the prosecution presented evidence and testimonies to substantiate their claims, seeking to prove the organized and systematic nature of the alleged criminal enterprise. The trial shed light on the intricate dynamics and actions within the Hells Angels motorcycle club, revealing a side that went beyond the camaraderie and unity often associated with the group. The allegations of racketeering and violence brought forth a heightened sense of scrutiny surrounding the club's activities and its members. The outcome of the trial would determine the extent to which the Las Vegas Hells Angels chapter would be held accountable for their alleged criminal actions. As the wheels of justice turned, the trial would unfold, allowing for a deeper understanding of the inner workings of the Hells Angels and the potential consequences for those involved. The prosecution's case aimed to expose the alleged criminal syndicate operating within the motorcycle club, while the defense would present their arguments to challenge the charges and protect the reputation of their client. The outcome of this trial would have far-reaching implications, not only for Richard DeVries and his co-defendants, but also for the broader perception of the Hells Angels motorcycle club. 1. Jay Witt's trial. In a case that shook the Hells Angels motorcycle club, Jay Witt stood trial for second-degree murder in connection with the death of William Furlong, whose lifeless body was discovered at a Hells Angels clubhouse. Surveillance footage became a key piece of evidence, capturing Witt entering and leaving the clubhouse while engaging in suspicious actions such as wiping down surfaces and door handles. Witnesses took the stand, recounting heated arguments between Witt and the victim prior to the tragic incident. Alongside Witt, his girlfriend Tammy Kozak faced charges of accessory and evidence tampering, indicating her alleged involvement in the aftermath of the crime. During the trial, a police sergeant testified, revealing that Witt had admitted to the altercation and provided information about the location of the victim's body. The prosecution built their case, aiming to establish a motive and prove Witt's culpability in Furlong's death. Despite the defense's assertion of self-defense, the trial's outcome saw Witt receiving a sentence of 20 years for charges of manslaughter and firearm-related offenses. The court considered the evidence presented and deemed the act to be a tragedy resulting from the defendant's actions. While Witt's attorney contended that the incident did not amount to murder, the jury found him guilty of lesser charges, holding him accountable for the loss of William Furlong's life. The trial shed light on the complexities of the case and the legal process surrounding Witt's involvement in the death of William Furlong. The courtroom became a battleground of evidence and testimonies, with the prosecution aiming to prove intent and the defense attempting to portray the incident as an act of self-defense. In the end, the jury's decision resulted in a significant sentence for Witt, ensuring that he would face the consequences of his actions for the following 2 decades. As the trial concluded, the impact of the verdict resonated within the Hells Angels community, raising questions about the club's involvement and responsibility. The trial not only held Jay Witt accountable for his actions, but also shed light on the complexities and potential dangers associated with the motorcycle club lifestyle. The consequences of this case would extend beyond the courtroom, leaving a lasting impact on the lives of those involved and the public's perception of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. These chilling cases shed light on the dark underbelly of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. While some members strive for brotherhood and camaraderie, others become entangled in a world of violence and criminality. As these members face life sentences for their crimes, the consequences of their actions reverberate through the lives of victims' families and serve as a stark reminder of the consequences of such associations. Join us next time as we delve further into the intricate world of the Hells Angels, exploring the challenges and triumphs experienced by its members. Until then, stay tuned for more gripping stories from inside the Hells Angels.